We'll see if that actually doesn't crash. But so let's just turn that one more time. Document. We are going to start on, we're going to have 2 pages and start on page 2. 8.5 by 11, and we're going to have 3 columns. And this is set up automatically. Your gutter is set up. The default is 1 pica, which is 0.1667 inches. So that's the default. So there we have our spread that we're going to play with. Now, so we are looking at both pages. We're not going to drag this down and figure it out completely, but just for the fun of it, I'm going to kind of be dealing with the rules of third grid to start. Okay, let's just drop that in there. And then the other thing I might go out and get, rule of thirds, is remind me, what's the name of the, my mind's going blank, the Fibonacci grid. Oh my gosh, somebody spell Fibonacci. Okay, there we go. There we go. We'll see if that actually doesn't crash. But so let's just turn that one more time. Document. We are going to start on, we're going to have 2 pages and start on page 2. 8.5 by 11, and we're going to have 3 columns. And this is set up automatically. Your gutter is set up. The default is 1 pica, which is 0.1667 inches. So that's the default. So there we have our spread that we're going to play with. Now, so we are looking at both pages. We're not going to drag this down and figure it out completely, but just for the fun of it, I'm going to kind of be dealing with the rules of third grid to start. Okay, let's just drop that in there. And then the other thing I might go out and get, rule of thirds, is remind me, what's the name of the, my mind's going blank, the Fibonacci grid. Oh my gosh, somebody spell Fibonacci. Okay, there we go. There we go. And I might just go grab one of these, okay, and drop it in here. It'd be nicer to have one that's opaque. But let's just drop this in here. We could go this way with it, okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, so here's a quick command. Shift Command, grab any corner, and it resizes your image proportionally. Okay, Shift Command, drag a corner. All right, so we can put that there. I can flip it this way, flip it that way. But in my head, it's generally the rule. It kind of drops right in here. It drops right in here a little bit. But that's what I'm playing with. Now, we go out and find an image. So I, of course, am going to do puppies as I normally do, because puppies are easy to find and they're cute, okay? All right, so as we look at these images, what am I looking for depending on the kind of layout I'm doing? If I'm doing a spread and I want to use the rule of thirds, is this photo here going to work very well? This one. Maybe, but I have to have room for my text, right? So where would my text go? Okay, that might work in a certain way, and we're going to test some of these here in a minute. Okay, but let's say, for example, this could work. I'm just going to grab these in here and just look real quick. This could work for more of a... So let's Shift Command, greater than, drag it down there. That's kind of nice. Okay, and I could do because this has kind of a symmetrical feel, and I could do a nice centered headline there and do a continued on. Okay, there's not really room for any text here. There's not enough head space. You know, could I drag it down lower, you know, lose there? Not really, okay? So we can't really do anything with that other than drop a nice headline in there. Okay, so that's not going to work. This one's, could this one work? Let's look at this one right here. Okay, that's got a little space on the right-hand side. Could we make that work? Drops in really large. Oops, I don't care about that right now. Drops in really large, Shift Command. So we try to get this to work. So we'll drag this all the way down here. Could I move this guy this way and create enough space over here to do a layout? Could I, see now I'm kind of going for the Fibonacci thing right in there. Does that make sense what I'm trying to do? Okay, so I might put a headline here and some text here. That doesn't really work, doesn't quite work. This guy here, we don't really know where the rule of thirds is on him, so it's not really something that can create a lot of balance. Because we want, the other thing you got to think about when you're dealing with a spread is you're kind of thinking about rule of thirds for every single page. Like these pages all have the rule of third going, but the overall page has a rule of, spread has a rule of third going too, which would be right about in here. So you want to kind of think about both of those things while you're doing it. And the major point here is that it's hard to find an image that works. And that's why we're taking the time to do it, because I want you to start out with an image that's going to work. Yes, okay. Now I'm going to show you. Good job, Sean, because that was one of the ones I grabbed on Saturday when I was playing with this, okay? Now this has some really, this was obviously a photographer who was thinking about the rule of thirds, right? Okay? And this could definitely work if you went into Photoshop and created kind of a knockout or a gray space here, or a screen size, and knocked out our headline in some color. This guy's perfectly kind of lined up with a rule of thirds or kind of the Fibonacci thing going on. The challenge here is then we got to do the Photoshop thing. Does that make sense? Okay, but this is an awesome photo for that. But I don't want to do that one because I don't want to do the knockout thing. Okay, so I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to pause my... So we grab the text tool and we create the space that we're working with. And I'll put that there for my headline to start. Okay, and as far as text goes, I don't think they have this in Photoshop, but this is a fun little tool that lets you fill with type. So you go to type, you go to object, and you fill with, hang on, let me find it. Here it is. Text, fill with placeholder text. So boom, it pops some text in there. And now I'm going to come up right over here, and I'm going to look for my columns. And right here, right up here in the upper left-hand corner is splits between the type and the paragraph controls. So these two controls are super important. Some of the stuff is replicated, but those are important. So I'm going to come right up here to my columns, and I'm going to drop in 3 columns for that grid. And right now it is flush left. So I'm going to come right up here, and notice there is several justified. And this is the one you want, justify with last line aligned left. Now this when it drops the text in, it looks kind of lame because there are hardly any paragraphs. So you have to kind of go through and just randomly make some paragraph breaks to make it look nicer. Because otherwise it's just going to be too much text and not enough kind of real paragraphs. So you want to go in and mess with that. And then I'm also going to go in and give it the first line indent, which is right up here. See this? It's right here. That little icon right there, first line indent. And I'm going to put a 0.125 inch indent there. So there we got some text. And as far as text goes, I'll go right up here. 12 point is too large for reading.